Hare Krishna. Is anybody on the call? Hare Krishna, Mataji's.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. This is Premarasa Devidasi.
All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
How are you doing, Mataji?
I don't know. I feel I'm okay, but then I get the chills. Every time I step outside, my legs are full of chills, and I hope I don't have any symptoms. I'm telling you, it's frightening.
Oh no.
I don't think so, but I hope not anyway.
Yeah. I think it's just the variation in temperature because suddenly it was very cold and then again it's hot, and I mean it's not like hot, but relatively temperatures have increased a tiny bit. So
how are you feeling, Mataji?
I'm okay, Mataji. Yeah. So just that Maharaj here, so I think we're just trying to clean the house a little bit because we are having a home program. So just preparing for those things. So
That's what Leela Mandri was saying. She left a message, and it said my Guru Maharaj is coming home or something like that.
Yeah. Today the program is in their house.
Oh, it's at their house. Very nice.
Yeah.
So sweet that you have him over,
Definitely, Mataji. Yeah, it's a very special feeling.
Always when you have the Guru,
So Mataji, the thing is that I won't be able to read today because my husband, he's just coming back from work. So I'll be taking care of his prasadam and other things. So I don't know, it's just you and me on the call. My sister is on the call. She can hear probably. So I don't know if you want to just read and share. So
yeah, I suppose that's all I'm going to do because nobody else is on the call today.
Yeah, he's there. Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay, let me find the book. I'll say the prayers. Oh.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Sorry, I'm not able to contribute today.
I'm trying to, I can't even remember how many verses I'm supposed to read today.
I can look through your email.
29. I can't remember. I think it's
3 verses.
30.
Yeah, 28, 29, and 30. Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah, but see, if I don't understand something, then it's good. Well,
I will be on the call, Mataji. I'll just be muted and I'll be doing things, but I will be listening to what you're sharing. So if there is anything, we can definitely talk and discuss.
Because, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. All right, so I'll start with the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nishta Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttima Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 4, texts 28, 29, and 30. This is on the chapter Sati quits her body. Okay, so let me take a stab at the Sanskrit. Tat pashyatam ke bhuvi chadbhutam mahad aheti vadasamuhan ajayata hanta priya devamatsya devi jahavasun kena sati prakopita. Translation and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? Purport. There was a tumultuous roaring all over the universe in the societies of the demigods of different planets, because Sati was the daughter of Daksha, the greatest of all kings, and the wife of Lord Shiva, the greatest of all demigods. Why did she become so angry that she gave up her body? Since she was the daughter of a great personality and wife of a great personality, she had nothing to desire, but still she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. Certainly this was astonishing. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the greatest material opulence. There was nothing Sati could not achieve, either from her relationship with her father or from her relationship with the greatest of the demigods. But still, for some reason, she was dissatisfied. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam 126 explains that one has to achieve real satisfaction, yayatma suprasidati. But Atma, the body, mind, and soul, all become completely satisfied only if one develops devotional service to the absolute truth. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaja means the absolute truth. If one can develop his unflinching love for the transcendental supreme personality of Godhead, that can give complete satisfaction. Otherwise, there is no possibility of satisfaction in the material world or anywhere else. Now, text 29. Aho anatmyam mahad asya pashyata prajapater yasya characharam prajaha jahav asun yad vimatat maja sati manasvini manam abikshinam arhati. Translation. It was astonishing that Daksha, who was Prajapati, the maintainer of all living entities, was so disrespectful to his own daughter, Sati, who was not only chaste, but was also a great soul, that she gave up her body because of his neglect. Purport. The word anatmya is significant. Atmya means the life of the soul. So this word indicates that although Daksha appeared to be living, actually he was a dead body. Otherwise, how could he neglect Sati, who was his own daughter? It was the duty of Daksha to look after the maintenance and comforts of all living entities because he was situated as Prajapati, the governor of all living entities. Therefore, how is it that he neglected his own daughter, who was the most exalted and chaste woman, a great soul, and who therefore deserved the most respectful treatment from her father? The death of Sati, because of her being neglected by Daksha, her father, was most astonishing to all the great demigods of the universe. Text 30. Soyam durmasya Ridayo Brahma Drukcha Loke Pakirtim Mahatim Avapshyati Yad Angajam Spam Purushadvid Udyatam Napratyashedan Mritaye Aparadhataha. Translation. Daksha, who is so hard-hearted that he is unworthy to be a Brahmana, will gain extensive ill fame because of his offenses to his daughter, because of not having prevented her death, and because of his great envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Daksha is described here as most hard-hearted and therefore unqualified to be a Brahmana. Brahmadruk is described by some commentators to mean Brahmabandhu, or friend of the Brahmanas. A person who is born in a Brahmana family but has no Brahminical qualifications is called a Brahmabandhu. Brahmanas are generally very soft-hearted and forbearing because they have the power to control the senses and the mind. Daksha, however, was not forbearing, for the simple reason that his son-in-law, Lord Shiva, did not stand up to show him the formality of respect. He became so angry and hard-hearted that he tolerated even the death of his dearest daughter. Sati tried her best to mitigate the misunderstanding between the son-in-law and the father-in-law by coming to her father's house, even without an invitation. And at that time, Daksha should have received her, forgetting all past misunderstandings. But he was so hard-hearted that he was unworthy to be called an Aryan or Brahmana. Thus, his ill fame still continues. Daksha means expert, and he was given this name because of his ability to beget many hundreds and thousands of children. Persons who are too sexually inclined and materialistic become so hard-hearted because of a slight loss of prestige that they can tolerate even the death of their children. Wow. Okay, let me go back. I'm trying to remember exactly. I did miss a few classes because of the Christmas holiday. So I'm trying to remember. I know that Sati went to her father's house without an invitation. And let me see here. She went back to her father's home and to see, first of all, she had been missing her family, is what I remembered. And I also remembered that the real reason was that she wanted to mitigate the issue or mitigate the tension between her husband, Lord Shiva, and Daksha. But Daksha completely ignored her, if I remember correctly. He did not welcome her into the house. And once again, as some of the purports are saying here, uh, he was being very hard-hearted with his daughter. And okay, I'm just trying to look. I was going back into some of the other verses.
Mataji, we can read a few purports from behind because I also missed a few classes last week from Thursday.
29.
Thursday
Okay.
was no class, I think. On Friday, yeah, I did not attend. So maybe we can just go back and read a few translations for the last 5 or 7 verses, so that way we both know like what was the sequence of events.
Okay. I believe, how about we start from, I'll go from 26 to 28. 25.
Sure.
26, yeah. 26. Okay, sure. I'll go from 26.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fine. That's good for me too, because I missed those classes myself. Evan Svadeham Mahatam Mahiyasa Muhu Samap Ropitam Ankam Adarat Jihasati Daksharusha Manasvini Dadara Gatreshu Anila Lagni Dharanam. Translation and purports again by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thus, in order to give up her body, which had been so respectfully and affectionately seated on the lap of Lord Shiva, who is worshipped by great sages and saints, Sati, due to anger towards her father, began to meditate on the fiery air within the body. Purport. Lord Shiva is described herein as the best of all great souls. Although Sati's body was born of Daksha, Lord Shiva used to adore her by sitting her on his lap. This is considered a great token of respect. Thus, Sati's body was not ordinary, but still she decided to give it up because it was the source of unhappiness because of its connection with Daksha. This severe example set by Sati is to be followed. One should be extremely careful about associating with persons who are not respectful to the higher authorities. It is instructed, therefore, in the Vedic literature that one should always be free from the association of atheists and non-devotees and should try to associate with devotees. For by the association of a devotee, one can be elevated to the platform of self-realization. This injunction is stressed in many places in Srimad Bhagavatam. If one wants to be liberated from the clutches of material existence, then one has to associate with great souls. And if one wants to continue one's material existential life, then one may associate with persons who are materialistic. The materialistic way of life is based on sex life. Thus, both becoming addicted to sex life and associating with persons who are addicted to sex life are condemned in the Vedic literature because such association will simply interfere with one's spiritual progress. However, association with great personalities, devotees who are great souls, will elevate one to the spiritual platform. Sati Devi decided to quit the body she had obtained from Daksha's body, and she wanted to transfer herself to another body so that she might have completely uncontaminated association with Lord Shiva. Of course, it is understood that in her next life, she would take birth as the daughter of the Himalayas, Parvati, and then she would again accept Lord Shiva as her husband. Sati and Lord Shiva are eternally related. Even after she changes her body, their relationship is never broken. And then text 27. Tatahasva Bartush Charanam Pujasavam Jagadguros Chintayati Na Chaparam Dadarsha Deho Hata Kalmashaha Sati Sadyaha Prajadvala Samadhi Jagnina. A translation. Sati concentrated all her meditation on the holy lotus feet of her husband. Lord Shiva, who is the supreme spiritual master of all the world. Thus she became completely cleansed of all taints of sin and quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements. Purport. Sati at once thought of the lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is one of the three great personalities of Godhead in charge of the management of the material world. And simply by meditating on his lotus feet, she derived such great pleasure that she forgot everything in relationship with her body. This pleasure was certainly material because she gave up her body for another body that was also material. But by this example, we can appreciate the devotee's pleasure in concentrating his mind and attention on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu or Krishna. There is such transcendental bliss in simply meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord that one can forget everything but the Lord's transcendental form. This is the perfection of yogic samadhi or ecstasy. In this verse, it is stated that by such meditation, she became free from all contamination. What was that contamination? The contamination was her concept of the body derived from daksha, but she forgot that bodily relationship in trance. The purport is that when one becomes free from all bodily relationships within this material world and simply places himself in the position of an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that all the contamination of his material attachment has been burned by the blazing fires of transcendental ecstasy. It is not necessary for one to manifest a blazing fire externally, for if one forgets all his bodily relationships within this material world and becomes situated in his spiritual identity, it is said that one has been freed from all material contamination by the blazing fire of yogic samadhi or ecstasy. That is the topmost perfection of yoga. If one keeps his bodily relationships within this material world and poses himself as a great yogi, he is not a bona fide yogi. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.15, it is stated, Yat kirtanam, yat smaranam. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, simply by remembering the lotus feet of Krishna, simply by offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is immediately freed from material contamination, the material bodily concept, by the blazing fire of ecstasy. This effect takes place immediately, without a second's delay. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, that Sati quit her body means that she gave up within her heart her relationship with Daksha. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also comments that since Sati is the superintendent deity of the external potency, when she quit her body, she did not get a spiritual body. but simply transferred from the body she had received from Daksha. Other commentators also say that she immediately transferred herself into the womb of Menaka, her future mother. She gave up the body she had received from Daksha and immediately transferred herself to another, better body. But this does not mean that she got a spiritual body. So I'm understanding that there's that Sati actually did not go directly to the spiritual world, that she her body was transferred from that of her father's, Daksha, and she got another body that was a better body, and then she was to meet Lord Shiva in the next life, and they were to be together again. I guess she was so angry that the treatment, because of the treatment of her father toward her, that that he was so hard-hearted. It seems from the reading here that's why she gave up her body. She did not want to be associated with him any longer, because he was not being fair. He was not being fair. He was just being unreasonable. Actually, it's after a point, not, becoming so offended because Lord Shiva did not stand to give him the respect he was due. And we know that also Lord Shiva is one of the highest personalities, and so he did not have to do that. And it says here in the purport that when she gave up her body, she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. And that's interesting, because to gain satisfaction, the only way one can achieve that is through devotional service. And it says here that Prabhupada says you cannot attain satisfaction even if you're situated in the greatest material opulence. And she definitely was. I mean, she came from a very opulent family. And then, of course, she had the greatest of the demigods as her husband, but she still was not satisfied. I thought that I thought that she was extremely elevated and that she did practice devotional service. So I'm not sure I understand the fact that she was, well, she did not achieve purity, complete 100% pure love of Godhead, I suppose, because of this anger, maybe. I'm not really sure, but it says here, if one can develop his unflinching love for the transcendental supreme personality of Godhead, that can give complete satisfaction. Otherwise, there's no possibility of satisfaction in the material world or anywhere else. We know this in general, but I thought that that Sati was, for some reason, that she was performing devotional service. So I'm not quite sure I understand that for sure. And of course, we learn in text 29 that that Daksha, he was a Prajapati. He was the maintainer of all living entities. Um, it was hard to understand that he became so disrespectful to his daughter. She was not only chaste, but she was a great soul. And because of his neglect, she gave up her body. It says the word anatmya is significant. The life, atmya means the life of the soul. It says that although he appeared to be living, he actually was a dead body, meaning how could he possibly neglect his own daughter, Sati? And so it was hard, it was very astonishing that he was the maintainer. He was to look after all the comforts of the living entities, the maintenance and their comforts. As a Prajapati, he was the governor of all living entities. So it was hard to understand that he neglected his own daughter, who was the most exalted and chaste woman and a great soul. And so it was astonishing. The death of Sati was astonishing to all the great demigods of the universe because they could not, it was hard to understand why he would even neglect his own daughter. And in the 30th, let's see, text 30, let's see. He didn't even try to prevent his daughter's death, and he would have to, he would gain ill fame because he offended his daughter. He didn't prevent her death, and he was envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the purport, Prabhupada describes that he was unqualified to be a Brahmana. Just because one is born in a Brahmana family but does not have those Brahminical qualifications is really called a Brahma Bandhu. And normally Brahmanas are very soft-hearted, okay? They have the power to control the senses and the mind. But Daksha was not forbearing. And he was like that because of his son-in-law. And so he was so angry and so hard-hearted that he tolerated the death of his dearest daughter. And it makes me sad when I hear this story. And so when Sati went to her father's house, she went without an invitation, and Daksha should have received her, but he was very hard-hearted and actually unworthy to be called an Aryan or a Brahmana. So it says, thus his ill fame still continues. If I'm not mistaken, his ill fame still continues. Is that from the curse that was rendered upon the Brahmanas? I'm not sure. I can't remember what the curse was, but to this day, the Brahmanas are no longer, they're considered Shudras and not really Brahmanas. They don't have the kind of power that they used to have. So I'm thinking this comes all the way from this time when Daksha, uh, did this to his daughter Sati, and was so unrelenting with Lord Shiva. So that's all I understood at this point, and I'm sure there's a lot that somebody could help me fill in the blanks on.
Thank you, Gordon Leela Mataji, for the nice explanation. Actually, last Wednesday when I was reading um, the texts, there is something interesting that actually came up in those texts. I just thought that I could probably share from that. So, actually, it gave the reason why Daksha was actually envious of Shiva, because, like Prabhupada was writing in the purport, that actually these Prajapatis and the other demigods and so on and so forth, they are not actually pure devotees of the Lord. They're mixed devotees, which means that they actually perform ritualistic activities in order to get piety. So they have to perform these yagyas and sacrifices, just like we are seeing Daksha is performing so many sacrifices and yagyas, so that he can actually populate the universe, so that he can populate the universe with good progeny. On the other hand, actually Shiva was a pure devotee of the Lord. So he was not really performing any of these sacrifices and other things. He would actually constantly be in meditation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Daksha couldn't understand that the process that is prescribed in the Vedas, he thought that that was the highest, but he could not understand that there was a higher principle of devotion that surpasses all of these yagyas and sacrifices that are mentioned in the Vedas, because actually the purpose of all these sacrifices is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the person who has actually got the essence of all the Vedas, they don't need to perform these sacrifices. So this principle was not understood by Daksha, because of which he was very offensive towards Shiva. So he used to always think that, oh, Lord Shiva is just sitting in meditation, but he's actually not performing his prescribed duties. So that is the reason why Daksha was envious of Shiva. He used to always, and he was not happy also that his daughter was married to such a person who is not performing his prescribed duties as per the Vedas.
Right.
So Sati, she was actually trying to explain this to her father, to say that Shiva is always in the meditation of the personality of Godhead, and that is the highest. Therefore, he should accept him, instead of having this expectation that he should perform so and so yagya or whatever, the other duties, because this is the highest of all. But but he was not actually in a position to understand what Sati was telling him. So, and another thing that I was thinking in all of this is that, like, how a person, when they're envious, they cannot hear the truth. They cannot hear the facts, because they're so engrossed in their own thoughts, and they're so engrossed in their own conceptions, that they cannot even see their daughter, or they cannot even see the reality as it is. So it is very hard when somebody's heart is contaminated to actually understand or see, like, what is being told to them, or from a higher authority, whatever that could be. So, um, so that is the reason actually in today's verses we are hearing how hard-hearted Daksha was, because of the envy that he had in his heart, that he couldn't actually see the truth of what it is, and could not respect a very dear devotee of the Lord.
Did you, wasn't this was in a different yuga, obviously, probably Treta Yuga. I'm trying to think, when I think the sacrifice, Dvapara, was it Dvapara or Treta Yuga, where the sacrifices were the dharma of the age?
Yeah,
the Yuga Dharma.
Dwapara Yuga, Mataji.
Dvapara Yuga.
Yeah.
So it was this probably in Dvapara Yuga?
Probably, yeah.
And if that's the case, it would make sense to me that he would not understand that there was a higher principle, because in that particular yuga, that was the Yuga Dharma, was to perform these sacrifices. And obviously he didn't realize that there was something higher.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. The thing is that he could not understand. But I don't know, Mataji. Dwapara Yuga is sacrifice, but I don't know if this event is happening in Dwapara Yuga or Satya Yuga. I don't know. I don't know which yuga this was happening, but in Dwapara Yuga is sacrificial, whatever, all the yagyas and sacrifices was the Yuga Dharma. Then Treta Yuga was deity worship.
Okay.
And yeah, and ours now is the Sankirtan. So yeah, so I'm not sure if this is what it is. Yeah. But like even in the verses that you are reading today, Prabhupada is writing about that those who remember the personality of Godhead, the first verse you read for today, it speaks about that those who remember the personality of Godhead, then their life is perfect. But even the essence of performing sacrifice is to remember the personality of Godhead, because actually again, this is from the discussion we had on Wednesday, that the first verse that is chanted when somebody is performing a sacrifice is to say that Krishna is the proprietor of everything, and all of these, whatever benefits are going to come from this sacrifice, are going to be dedicated to him. Even in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Bhokta Ram Yagatapsa, means he is actually the Bhokta, means he is the benefactor of all sacrifices. But then Daksha was not able to understand that. So although he was performing the yagya, he was not really getting the entire benefit, because he did not understand the essence of the yagya.
Right. So he really didn't have complete Brahminical qualification.
Yeah. So okay. He couldn't get what was actually being done. Yeah, he couldn't catch the essence of even the activity that he was doing. He did not get the entire picture of what it was intending to be. Like the intent was lost in the process of performing the act itself. Like even with us, we have seen that like when we do any kind of service or anything, sometimes we forget that this is for Krishna. We just do the activity for the sake of doing it, but then we don't remember that, hey Krishna, this is for your pleasure, because we are also in that mixed devotion level.
Okay.
So the same thing was happening to Daksha also. He was performing them, but he was forgetting that this is to please the Lord. But in the case of Shiva, whatever he was doing, he always remembered. He was in constant meditation of the Lord. That's why he was in a higher position than Daksha himself, although he was not performing the sacrifice.
Now, another thing, why was Sati so dissatisfied? In other words, pure satisfaction is to perform um, devotional service to the Lord. It said that she was so exalted. Wasn't she performing? She was very powerful. Wasn't
Uh,
she performing devotional service?
Mataji, I think she was also in a mixed devotional stage, but I don't know much about her because I have not read anywhere else. So I will not be able to give an appropriate answer because, like, we had this discussion few classes ago, the position of Sati. But I am not sure exactly. Of what I understand from the verses that we read today, it seems like she was a chaste wife. And because Lord Shiva was a pure devotee of the Lord, being a chaste wife, she was actually receiving all those benefits of being the wife of a pure devotee. And that is her perfection. Because if we see, even in the life of Devahuti and Kardama Muni was a pure devotee of the Lord. Like he had seen the Lord face to face even before he got married to Devahuti. And the fact that Devahuti was chaste to Kardama Muni, she actually received the benefit of having the Supreme Personality of Godhead as her son, although she
Right.
was not at that position.
Right. Okay.
So similarly, it feels like Sati was not at such an elevated position as Lord Shiva, but having him as her wife, sorry, her as her husband, and being chaste and serve him uh, selflessly, so she is also receiving the benefits of her chastity.
So then when she, this taking of another body was to rid herself of her connection to Daksha for what he did. And she took another body, which means she obviously did not attain, she did not become a pure devotee of the Lord in that lifetime. She needed another lifetime
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Lord Shiva, correct?
Yeah, that's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport, that she did not receive a spiritual body in this lifetime. But probably we don't know about, as we read, maybe we will hear more about her. But it feels like this lifetime she did not receive a spiritual body. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But it made me very sad that sometimes there are fathers, this happens with some fathers, they neglect the ones, sometimes they have children and they neglect the one they love the most. And it's very, very sad that she gave up her body for that because of his neglect of her, and to not that she was unable to resolve that situation. I think was very, very well. She could not become satisfied then in pure devotional. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, Mataji. Actually, in the previous chapter, in some of the concluding verses, actually, that's what Prabhupada writes. And I think we also talked about it one time when Lord Shiva had asked her to not go.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and then even with that, she actually goes to meet, because Shiva was telling her that this is what is going to happen. You will get insulted, just don't go. But still she went. So, like, that is also another lesson for us to learn, is that, like, when we are being told by a higher authority to not do something, then it's best for us if we just listen to their advice rather than applying our own intelligence and then suffering in the end. So um, some lessons have to be like Prabhupada always says that an intelligent person, he just hears and then he understands. But a less intelligent person does not understand just by hearing. He has to perform the act and then receive the consequence, and then only they can actually learn. And even worse intelligence is that they listen, they act, they have a bad consequence, still they don't learn. So it is a lesson that,
Oh,
yeah,
Mataji,
what you said is very saddening. Yeah, what you
I
said is
guess,
very true.
I guess I'm less intelligent because I've had to learn a lot of lessons the hard way in this life. You know,
Well,
I don't know if anyone necessarily told me, don't do this, don't do that, but I
Yeah.
just did what I thought I wanted to do. And I wouldn't, yeah, I had to learn a very, very hard lesson. It could have been avoided if I had listened to certain people. Maybe it's, that stubborn streak. I don't know.
Mataji, sometimes it's the situation also that we are put in. Sometimes it's just beyond our control. Like even if people tell us, because of whatever we have to go through from for whatever our past deeds are, we cannot really understand. And in Kali Yuga, Mataji, everybody is in the same boat. It's everybody is less intelligent. That's why they're in Kali Yuga. And like we all know, we don't have proper qualified husbands that we serve and we perfect our lives. We don't have that opportunity, and then also the fact that like we all received or we all came into devotional services a much later stage of life. We were not born a devotee in for that sense.
Mhm.
So at least we can feel fortunate that now we have that access, and then we can actually take advantage of that. But yeah, it is really hard to hear, and it's so hurtful that what you said is so true. Like people have children and then eventually for some small thing they may neglect their children completely, which is not at all appropriate. And that's what Prabhupada is condemning here, and he's saying that Daksha is so hard-hearted that we cannot even call him a Brahmana. Although he was born Brahmana, he was a Prajapati. He was so qualified. Still, for having done what he did, we cannot even call him a Brahmana. So, what you're saying is right, Mataji. Yeah, it's very sad actually to go through such a situation.
That poor Sati, I mean, how could she, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
could picture myself in that situation. I'm defying my husband who's so exalted, and I'm totally defying him because I want to go there. I want to be with my family. And I go there and I get slighted, but like ignored by my father. He won't even look at me. He won't
Yeah.
receive me. It's so painful that
Yeah.
that she would give up her whole body for that.
Yeah. Lord Shiva actually tells her that you will be insulted for no reason of yours. But still she goes. And yeah. And that's how I feel also, like, being in a woman's body or even otherwise, like, not being supported by our dear ones is the most hurtful thing that can happen to anybody. Because we have invested our trust, we have invested our time, we have invested our energy, we have given everything to those who are our dear ones, and then having not received support from them when we need the most is like the worst thing that can happen. See, Lord Shiva doesn't come to save her, and even Daksha doesn't save her, and those two are the most dear ones for her.
Yeah, that's why I found this passage very sad. Very sad.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe as we read on, it won't sound that way so much as we move along. But
Yes,
for now, that's how it feels, at least.
yeah. So, Mataji, there's somebody else on the call. I just don't know whose number that is. 3955. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, it's Linda.
Oh,
Mataji.
Linda Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Linda
Welcome.
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Mataji, would you
sorry?
like to share anything for this class from Govardhan Leela Mataji today?
No, I don't have anything.
No.
I kind of got on late. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji. So Govardhan Leela Mataji, any final comments or should we end here for today?
I think we can end here
We
unless
can
you,
end here.
I don't think I missed anything big. I think we covered the main points.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. So we can end here.
Govardhan Leela.
Yeah.
Govardhan Leela. Don't go.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Oh, okay. Yeah, I go in. I'm sorry, Mataji. I need to talk to Govardhan Leela for a moment.
Mataji, please go ahead. I'm going to mute myself, and once you're done, then we can end the call. Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mataji, how can
Yeah.
I? Yes.
I go in tomorrow for my second cataract surgery on my right eye. So
Okay.
just like be aware, I guess, and just pray that it
I'll
all
say
goes
it for
well.
you. How are you seeing out of the other eye? Is it better now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. I can see. I mean, if I look up, I can see clearly, and if I look down, it's all a blur. So I guess half the eye is healed, and the other half has to go yet. So
Okay.
yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Well,
this is like the
I'll
biggest decision that I've ever made in my whole life.
Well, I will say a prayer that, that your surgery will go well. I'm sure it will. And,
Yeah.
and that you
I
will
have a
be
good
well.
doctor. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a
we
good.
will be fine.
He's a good doctor.
Okay.
I just know. I tell you, if I go blind in one, I'm definitely going to become a devotee. I mean, renounced. I will go. I will sell everything, and I will go. And
You're not going to go blind, Mataji. You could still become a devotee without going blind. You are a devotee.
I
So,
am a devotee.
yeah, you're a devotee already. So I will pray for you. Okay?
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Just 6:00 in the morning.
That's when they do
All
them.
right.
I had it
Yeah.
done. Believe me, I had it done twice, so I know what you're going
Twice.
through.
Are
Yeah,
you serious?
sure.
Wow.
So
And
it,
you came through with flying colors.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's what I would call today a pretty standard procedure. It's nothing so serious. You're going to be just fine. They know what they're doing when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would put my hands into the hands of Krishna. I would just give it to him completely. He'll take care of you. And Lord Nrsingadev, he will protect you.
Thank you. How are you? How are you feeling?
I don't know. I'm feeling kind of congested and a little bit chilled today, but I've had that on and off now for about a week. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's sinuses or if I have a cold. I don't know. So
Take a lot of zinc. Zinc is like I'm finding wonder drugs right now.
I'm taking 100 milligrams a day.
Oh,
So
great.
that's a lot of zinc.
Yeah.
Okay, Mataji, I think we have to end the call because this is being recorded. Okay?
Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay.
There's no big deal. It's not a big deal, but we should end the call. I mean, it's time, just about. Okay?
Okay. You have a good evening.
You too,
Thank
Mataji.
you.
Take good care of yourself. Prema
Yeah.
Rasa, I think we can end the call.
Yes, Mataji, thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Tomorrow.
Yes. Yes. Good night.